Hey everybody, welcome back to The Hunt. We are talking, as usual, on The Hunt about things that inspire us and encourage us and help us towards personal growth and self-discovery. My next guest is amazing at that. Her name is Jessica Zemple, and she is the founder of Life Shucker, and she is the author of the #1 Amazon selling book, Shuck This Way. And we are going to dive in with that with Jessica right now. So welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so lots to go into today, but let's high level just talk to the audience about just what is the concept of shucking and Shuck This Way, because it's so fun. I mean, you did such a great job. So.
Thank you. It starts with this idea that everybody's got grit in their life, and so many of us are afraid or ashamed of the things that have happened and hide it. And I like to say that's actually what creates our beauty. And so just as a pearl is created through the grit inside the oyster, I see everybody as a pearl. And so everybody's pearl has a shell around them that they close in times of fear, which is natural, totally appropriate, and often necessary. The problem comes if you have been in your shell for too long. Then you're starting to live in the dark, you are isolated from the world, and really just not having the best life. And so in order to get outside of your shell, you've got to use love to shuck it open and shine your pearl. So
Such a brilliant analogy. How in the world did you come up with that?
Well, it was actually my very first client.
Okay.
Was stuck on something, and we'd been working together for a while, and I had had oysters the night before, and
that's how it happens, folks.
Seriously, it was not planned in any way, and actually was a little shocking when I said it at first. So what happened was he kept going into the same story, and I'm like, I was like so ready for him to change. I was a new coach, so I thought that his success was determined on my success, and so I had some limiting beliefs there. So I was putting a lot of pressure on his success. And I just looked at him and I was like, oh my God, do I gotta shuck you? And all of a sudden I was like, I just told my client I'm gonna shuck him, my one and only client. And I had put my whole future on this one person, unfortunately. And he sat there and he was like a super stuffy corporate executive.
That is like an aha moment for you both, I think. Probably. Yes. I'm just envisioning that happening right now.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Especially because he was so sterile, if you will. And I only say that because that's how I used to be. I used to be in the corporate space, and I was so stuffy and I was so in the lines, and I just sat there and I had no idea where that was going to go. So I sat in this awkward silence of like, how do you follow up with after you say?
So what did he say? Did he say, what do you mean?
He just sat there shocked. He's like, did you just say you're gonna shuck me? And I just sat there and I was like,
I hope you both burst out laughing at some point.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah. And he started belly laughing, and all of a sudden I saw him come out of his shell, and he like literally belly laughing, and was like, oh my gosh, I finally get it. If I want my life to change, I need to crack my shell open. I need to make some changes in my life. And I was like, yes. And so all of a sudden I saw my career back, because 2 minutes ago I thought I had destroyed my whole future.
But what a visual. Mm-hmm. My goodness. So you mentioned just now that you were in corporate America.
I was.
Okay. And that's very different than being in this space as an entrepreneur,
yes.
The owner, of your own gig, so to speak, and really it's just so different. So take us on that journey.
Yeah, so honestly, I was chasing money, and I thought money meant safety. I thought money meant security, and so I was going for these corporate jobs, and intellectually it was stimulating. I was doing a lot of mergers and acquisitions, and at the end of the day, though, I was just miserable.
Yeah.
And it felt empty, and that catapulted me into a whole personal transformational journey, and here I am.
Isn't it amazing that, and you're very thoughtful like this, that when you are making those life decisions and you know what drives you at the core, what those things are, but you make the decision for money, and then how quickly you realize after you take that step how wrong it is for you, because it's the exact opposite of what drives you
right.
as a human being.
Right.
Right? Yeah, I find it just absolutely fascinating that, we kind of have to go through that in order to come out the other side. Yeah. So you went on to get your master's, right?
Yep.
So what was that process like, and how has that helped, just springboard you into what you do today?
So it's at a university called Santa Monica, University of Santa Monica, and all they teach is spiritual psychology.
Okay.
And what you can think of spiritual psychology as is a 2-year degree in me. So I literally got to spend hours upon hours digging into who I was, why I did the things I did, what my limiting beliefs were, what my fears were, honing in on my intuition and really helping to hear my own heart again. And it was life-changing. And so that's really what led me to this work I'm doing now, because on the outside, everything looked great in my life. I had checked all the boxes I thought success was, and I was miserable inside. And through that personal journey, I have never felt greater freedom, joy, purpose, meaning, love, you name it. And so I just want to give that back to everybody else.
I think that's fascinating, Jessica, because I think that most people don't find that luxury. I think, we have a tendency to stay feeling stuck and like, oh, we can't change because we have all these other responsibilities. Yes. And you put everybody else first before you really say, well, what do I need? It's kind of like, when you're on the airplane. It's like, you put your oxygen mask on first and then you put it on, your children or other people around you. Yeah. And that's what you did. You did that for yourself, which then created space for you then to go add value.
Yes.
Beyond.
It's been a wild ride. So
I know that your personal story runs deep as well. So talk to us about your father and how that experience really propelled you into this world as well.
Yeah, thank you for asking about him. He's amazing. He is diagnosed with something called schizophrenia, and how it's manifested is through a lot of violence and anger and rage, and so it created a very dynamic childhood, if you will, and that's the grit that I'm talking about. I spent so many years living in shame that people were going to judge me, and people did. I lost a lot of friends and opportunities because of it, and that's okay. People just don't know what it is, and my perspective is really wanting to share our journey so we can change people's experiences and perspectives of mental health. And so one of the important things I've learned through that is he's not his disease. It is an experience he's having. He never chose to have schizophrenia. And if he had a choice, he wouldn't have had those behaviors. And it's not like I condone those behaviors, and I have compassion for him. And so I had a journey of really coming into acceptance.
Were you a young girl when?
Yeah, he moved out when I was about 7, so I had a lot of years with him. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But this was all happening at that young of an age.
It was. And then there was about 25 years where we didn't talk because it wasn't healthy or safe in my perspective. And in my 30s, I finally felt like I was in a place where I could reconnect with him, and it's been amazing. He is just the most loving soul when I can see past the illness, and the beautiful conversations we can have. He's so honest and he's so open to sharing what it's like. And I just hope that if anybody has that in their family or in their world, that you take time to get curious. Definitely have healthy and boundaries to be safe.
Yeah, instead of running from it,
Yeah.
kind of almost run toward it,
Yeah.
right, to embrace it. Have you found that your experience, especially such a tender age, has increased your empathy? Because sometimes I think we go through things and you don't understand why you're going through it at the time, but it does increase your empathy and your ability to connect with other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you found that?
It's been one of the best gifts, and and actually that worked really well in corporate America too. I could walk into a boardroom and I could read everybody's personalities and what was going on so quickly because I was so fine-tuned into
people's behaviors because of my experiences.
And you didn't tell them that, did you?
No.
They're like, who is this person that can read my mind?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's a gift for sure.
Yes, it helped for sure.
So that whole experience with your father, that then led you. I mean, obviously you had to go through what you went through as well in corporate America.
Yeah.
And then found yourself saying, okay, this doesn't work either. So then let's go get educated and know myself first. And then that led you to this.
That's right. And I'll even tie one more connection in there because I shared earlier that the corporate journey was really driven by money. Mm-hmm. A lot of that was from my childhood because...
Okay, hold that thought because we got to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere at home. You're watching The Hunt. I'm with Jessica Zemple, and she is the author of Shuck This Way. More in a minute. Stay tuned.